Guys, welcome to another episode of the No Swear Gamer. Have another little plug and play. This time it is by AtGames. It's a Sega Genesis Arcade Nano Columns plug and play. Nice orange color here. You can see you got the A, B, C, X button, a start button for pausing, a little joystick that you operate with your thumb, and your AV cable here. On-off switch. Runs on one AAA battery, and it's just your standard composite with the mono audio cable set up there. So let's go ahead and take the Columns plug and play, pop it in my TV, see how the games hold up today. Let's go to the games. The Sega Genesis Nano Arcade Columns plug-and-play system carries a copyright year of 2008. It features 10 games, 5 standard Sega Genesis games, and 5 other lower quality games. The menu screen has a simple 3-page setup that not only allows you to select any of the 10 games, but it also allows you to pick different starting levels for the games Arrow Flash and Flicky. But for some reason, some of the level choices in Flicky seem to be written in French. Once you select a game, in order to return to the menu screen, you need to turn the unit off and then back on again. The first game on the system is Arrow Flash. This shooter feels a little out of place on a plug-and-play full of puzzle games, and if you're like me, you'll want to go into the option menu and turn on the rapid fire and maybe lower the difficulty too, but it is a decent shooter. The second game on the system is the featured title Columns. Outside of the original Sonic, this might be the most widely released Genesis game out there. It's a nice looking puzzle game and offers some fun, but I wouldn't call it a top tier game in this genre. The third game is Columns 3. This offers some updates to the game, including the ability to take on computer-controlled opponents, which I like, but the controls aren't as tight as the original game, which is a shame. The fourth game is Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine. This Puyo Puyo style game is one of my faves on the Genesis, but this version using this joystick is my least favorite version so far. Still fun, but I'd rather play it some other way. The fifth game is Flicky, a port of the 1984 arcade game, where you control a bird who doesn't really fly but hops and floats around each level, gathering small yellow birds to take them to an exit while avoiding cats and lizards. It's a good port, but I've never been a big fan of this game. The sixth game is Jewel Magic, a generic Columns ripoff that offers a couple new ideas, like jewels having to be pointed in the same direction to match, but it's not nearly as good as the Sega original. Why you include an inferior ripoff on the same system is way beyond me. Next we have Cross the Road, a game that plays like a mix of Frogger and the Atari 2600 game Freeway. Here you press one button to move forward one space, another to move forward continuously, and the joystick to move left and right, but you can't move forward and left and right at the same time, which is frustrating. Why they didn't allow you to just use a joystick like in Frogger is baffling. This game is a pass. The eighth game is Plumbing Contest. Sounds exciting, doesn't it? This is one of those games where you use various pipe pieces to connect two ends before time runs up. And in this version, the timer moves very fast, and honestly, I don't care much for this version. Next, we have the both futuristic and old-sounding Maze 2010. Here you move your character out of a maze while collecting diamonds. And it's not very exciting, and to make matters worse, the joystick doesn't always respond in the way you want it to, which is kind of important in a maze game. Finally, we have the confusingly named Fish Tank Live. This is basically an underwater breakout clone, but it appears to be an ocean, not a fish tank, and the entertainment value is more dead than alive, and it just doesn't control well for this style of game. Graphically speaking, the emulation is overall pretty good, but just like the other AtGames Genesis products, the sound and music suffer, with some examples being worse than others. And while the sounds didn't bother me that much in the Virtual Fighter Arcade Nano, which I just reviewed in episode 305, in this one it did in most of the games. I really enjoyed the music and sounds in the regular cartridge version of Columns, but in this plug and play it's pretty bad. Arrow Flash also has some irritating sounds to it as well. Family friendly wise, I'm assuming this collection would get an E for everyone, as most of the stuff here is pretty tame. On Amazon, you can currently buy these units new for $10. Now, new units do come with a cheap AAA battery. However, just like my Virtua Fighter 2 version, my battery was dead when I opened my package last summer. So I wouldn't be surprised if most of the batteries died on the shelf, since I believe they stopped making these things years ago. So what do I think of the Sega Genesis Arcade Nano Columns unit? Before I played this, I thought this collection of puzzle games might work better as a plug-and-play unit than the Virtual Fighter unit, but I was wrong. Not only is the sound bad, but the lack of precision in the joystick is really brought out in the puzzle games, where one false move can cost you a game, and none of the generic games were that enjoyable either. So where am I going to rank this plug-and-play? Well, it's going to be really close to the Atari Keychain plug and play, which is currently at the 15th position. And since the Nano arcade joystick is a little more comfortable than the arcade mini one, I'm going to place it just ahead of that one. So out of the 17 plug and plays I've now ranked, I'm going to place the Sega Nano Columns unit in the 15th position. The Sega Genesis Nano Arcade Columns plug and play is more enjoyable to look at than to play. So what do you think of this plug and play? Whether you agree or disagree with me, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Also, feel free to click the like and subscribe buttons, and if you'd like to support the show, you can do so at Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/NoSoreGamer for more information. You can also follow me on both the Facebook or the Twitter. And I'm a member of the Retro Junkies Network. You can find more retro podcasts and videos at theretrojunkies.com. Thank you for giving me a little part of your day, and I look forward to seeing you next time in the next episode of the No Swear Gamer. Take care, everybody.